Okay, so my Minecraft world got taken over by robots. They were really strong, impossible to defeat, and you know what they say, if you can't beat them, join them. By using the parts dropped by those robots, I could upgrade myself to become just as strong as they were. And with that power, I could infiltrate and take down the source of those robots, the labs. There were 3 labs which created the robots and even began robotically modifying normal Minecraft mobs. If I could get into each lab and take down the modified bosses guarding them, the robot uprising would be stopped in its tracks. And I would gain some special robotic abilities and upgrades from the bosses, which was cool too. The first day was pretty much just Minecraft, so I'm not going to go into a ton of detail, but basically I spawned in a village, got wood, blah blah blah. Once I got some iron though, I was able to create the upgrade station tier 1. I placed it down and interacting with it turned me into a robot. That was the extent though. I would need to craft upgrades to gain abilities and stuff. Because I didn't have upgrades at that point, I crafted an iron sword. Later I would unlock robot upgrades to make my fist do a lot of damage, but for now the sword would do. Oh, and another fun quirk of being a robot, I couldn't eat food. The only way to refill my hunger was batteries, which required redstone and either copper, iron, or gold for different tiers. I looted a little pillager camp, which didn't really have much. I did get an XP bottle though. Check this out. Oh, I got it! Wait. That bottle was enough XP to give me the next advancement. So now I can put down my station. And then right now I have iron armor 1. I do this and now I have iron armor 2. Yeah, so to explain that, as I reached new XP levels, I would gain advancements that unlock higher levels of armor. Higher tier armor could use higher tier upgrades and abilities, so I would really need to keep all my XP. I made an iron pick, was preparing to go mining so I could make some batteries and maybe some cool abilities, and then I encountered my first robot. No, where did you, oh my God. Oh no. Okay. Emergency. That's gonna kill me. They're gonna kill me. They're gonna kill me. Okay, there is a robot right there. No, why does it have rockets? Okay, bruh. Over here. That's fine. It's not fine. He killed himself. He blew himself up, we're good. Yep, I lost my bed. But that robot did drop an enhanced robotic scrap. That was actually the tier 2 scrap, and I couldn't really use it at that point, but at least I had one, right? I was still planning on mining, but I really wanted a new bed. I had no way to restore hunger, and those robots were super strong, so I wanted some way to respawn. However, getting a bed required me to travel through the night, which meant more robot attacks. I encountered 2 new types that night. There were these little short ones and some flying drones, both of which died in one hit to an iron sword. They also dropped the tier 1 robotic scrap, meaning I was very close to my first upgrades. A few sheep later, I headed underground and made a bed. I was doing a bit of mining when I learned that robots cannot touch water without taking damage. That was fun. You know what wasn't fun? Mining. I made a backpack to help with my inventory being full, and then I kinda just mined. As you do. It didn't take very long to get my first redstone and finally get some batteries to eat, which was sick, but it had nothing on what happened next. And I need the spyglass to make a laser shot for my eyeballs, which still need iron anyways. Can I make this right now? Yo, I can make this right now. Redstone repeater, spyglass, iron, robotic scraps, and a piece of redstone, and I have the laser shot, dude. Now, the way this works, I'm pretty sure I place the station down, and now... I could now shoot lasers from my eyeballs. But back to mining. I certainly mined until I found some diamonds. Not only did I find diamonds, but I got the achievement for diamond robotic armor at the same time. However, I actually needed a tier 2 upgrade station to use it, so until I took on the first lab, iron tier 2 was all I had. I almost saved those 3 diamonds that I got for upgrades, but it just made more sense to get a diamond pick, so I did. After a bit, I found myself in this huge cavern, fought some annoying mobs, and found some more diamonds. I immediately used these to make the drone upgrade. For some reason, that one did not require any robotic scraps, and then I realized that it didn't matter. My tier 2 iron armor could not use the summon drones upgrade. I had to beat the first lab for that too. I was really hoping to have those drones for that cave because it was very dangerous. I was able to fight off most of the stuff with my laser shot, but if I got too close to some of the robots, it would have been over. I discovered some hidden tech though. If I just stood in the corner of the cave away from all the other robots and mobs, the only thing that would approach me was drones. Drones dropped basic scraps, which I needed for all of my upgrades before the first lab, and this was easily the best way to get them. Until I got attacked by this guy anyways. Holy, no! Holy mother of God, no! Ah! Step off! Holy! Dude, he's gonna kill me. No, no, no. Okay, bed. Spawn set. You can't beat me forever, bro. I have diamond armor now. How? Yo, I do not vibe with this guy. Why is he jumping? Stop jumping, dude. Bro, oh, there's so many drones. I just need my stuff back. Come on, go back. I lost all my XP. I forgot that I had laser shot. I think I had to get my stuff back before I could even do that, because the other one that I had on didn't have that. I killed him. Okay, cool. Those guys were probably the strongest robots that spawned outside of labs, and they were super annoying. Also, if you ever see my armor in a higher tier than I should have, it's because of a bug with the mod when I die, so just ignore it. Thanks. Next, I learned what the little guys do. There's a little guy with arms, little guy with arms. He's dead. Oh my God, that scared the, oh my God. Because why not explode, right? After I'd had my fill of the caves, I reached the surface and instantly got attacked by a humanoid robot. Of course, I'm the best gamer ever, and I baited that guy into a frozen river and knocked him into the depths. The morning after, I set up a little base camp to store and smelt my things, and then it was time. Using the scraps from the drones in that cave, it was time to make upgrades. I made the tier 1 melee upgrade, the tier 1 reinforcement upgrade, and the tier 1 speed upgrade. I was now stronger, my defense was better, and I was faster. I was all but ready to take on the first lab, but I needed an ender pearl to make the teleporter to get there. So I waited for night, and I didn't get a pearl because of course not. Another upgrade that I could get before the first lab was the night vision upgrade, which needed glowstone. I decided to just go to the nether and do that while waiting for nighttime, but oh man, the nether was hell. Like figuratively and literally, I guess. There were swarms of crazy nether zombies, robots that blew everything up, and then whatever this red guy was. It took some finessing, but I got my glowstone and then died and lost most of my XP. But it's fine, because after getting my stuff and returning home, I was able to make some upgrades. The first of which, of course, was night vision, and the second one was the mining upgrade, which gave me an unreasonable amount of haste. Like, I couldn't even see my fist move anymore, it was so fast. I still didn't have the ender pearl, so I did a bit of mining, and upon returning, I made the final tier 1 upgrade, lightning strike, which was about what you could expect. I then passed a bit of time by doing an ice tower dungeon, which wasn't anything special, but it gave me a decent amount of XP and iron, so not bad. Then finally, after an epic 2v1 situation, I got my ender pearl. I combined it with some copper and made the tier 1 teleporter, which would give me access to the first of 3 labs. Before heading out, I made an item called the discharge stick. What this did is it let me place a battery on the ground and then supercharge it, which gave more saturation. It'd be good for boss fights and stuff, so why not? Okay, no more stalling. I was ready for the first lab. I hit the teleporter and found myself in this fancy high-tech place with giant pipes and stuff. I ran through the halls, destroyed robot spawners, looted chests that contained diamonds and robotic scraps, and then I found my first boss. Each lab had a few different mini bosses and then one major boss at the end. The first one that I found was the mini boss robot polar bear. It was super fast, knocked me very far back, and did a decent amount of damage. But fortunately, that was all it could do. I kited it around, shot it with lasers, struck it with lightning, gave it the old 1-2 punch, and took out the robotic polar bear. I can confidently say that if I did not get the armor reinforcement upgrade, I probably would have lost that fight multiple times. The labs were honestly no joke, and having to fight those giant mech robots that shoot explosives in such close quarters was a very hard to survive. But despite it all, I managed to make it to the second mini boss. I activated the fight and the robotic slime spawned and began rolling. This arguably adorable boss rolled around at the speed of sound, but I was quite literally built different and I punched it out without issue. The only thing left in the first lab was the final boss. Defeating that boss would unlock the tier 2 upgrade station, giving me more armor, better upgrades, and stronger abilities. I approached the boss room where the black and red egg sat, waiting. I activated the egg and the robot's evoker spawned. He chased me down with incredible speed, summoning armies of drones constantly. I was able to avoid getting hit for the most part, but when I did get hit, my health dropped. I had to get some distance and eat a supercharged battery to heal up, and then the fight was as good as done. Unlocking the lightning strike upgrade before reaching this lab made this fight 10 times easier, because in one fell swoop I could eliminate the entire wave of drones at once. With one final laser shot, I took out the robot evoker, completing the first lab. He dropped the tier 2 teleporter, a bunch of basic and enhanced scraps, and of course unlocked the tier 2 upgrade station. With the XP I gotten in the lab, I already unlocked tier 2 diamond armor, which had these sick claws on the end. Yo, by the way, if you're new here, why not subscribe, you know? And also, I stream all my video recordings live on Twitch, so maybe swing by there. Yeah. Anyways, because I had defeated the drone summoning evoker, I could finally summon drones myself. My own mini robot army. With the first lab down, I decided it was about time to build a little home. Nothing too fancy, just something to hide in so I don't get blown up by random robots. I built these nice white and blue walls, and then because I had to go get materials, I decided to use my new tier 2 upgrade station to give myself the jump boost and speed 2 upgrades. My movement was insane with those. So insane that I might have accidentally killed myself and lost all of my XP. Yeah. A bit of calcite bricks, deep slate tiles, and a mini aquarium later, I had a home. And immediately after, I made some new upgrades. Waterproof, so I don't take damage in water, and laser shot tier 2. I was about to test a new laser shot when I had a home intruder. That's where I learned that if I don't kill the banner boy, I don't get bad omen. Shoutouts to the drones. Also, yeah, I had tier 2 laser now, which was green instead of red. Whoa. Then I made these items called repair kits, which are basically golden apples, and then I used them to make the auto repair upgrade. This gave me permanent regeneration, which after that lab, I felt was necessary. And then I made melee tier 2, because damage is damage. I of course wanted the rest of the tier 2 upgrades, but to get them I needed more scraps. And you get scraps by scrapping some robots. That night I used my new and improved strength to hunt some higher tier robots, getting as many enhanced scraps as I could. By the next morning, I was able to create the tier 2 reinforcement upgrade and the tier 3 melee upgrade. Just take a moment to realize how strong I've become at this point. I do crazy damage, have incredible armor, mine at the speed of light, I can strike lightning and shoot lasers and deploy drones. It's just unreal. One of the things that I wanted to make before going into the second lab was a teleport pad. I didn't show it in the video, but I had to walk all the way back from the first lab to get home, and it was not fun. Each telepad took 3 ender pearls, so I needed 6 total, so I hunted endermen. I also mined. Exciting! After the grinding, I made 2 telepads and set one down in my home. The robot evoker gave me the teleporter to the second lab, and it was about time to use it. I teleported to the second lab, and there was a mini boss egg immediately. I set my spawn, approached the egg, and activated the robot Hoglin boss. That thing's speed was on a new level. It was insanely hard to hit, and each time it hit me, I got launched into the ceiling. With how hard he was to hit, I had no choice but to summon the drone squad. They held the Hoglin in place, letting me get tons of free damage. And by using the drones to limit the Hoglin's movement, I was able to take it out, getting a few enhanced scraps. Compared to the first lab, this one had a lot more normal robots spawning, but it also had a lot less loot chests. I searched for a while before I found a chest, but when I did, inside it had an entire netherite chestplate and a free netherite scrap. I couldn't actually wear the chestplate because of my robot gear, but a netherite chestplate was needed for one of the tier 3 upgrades, so I'll take it. Saves me an entire netherite ingot. Just a bit later, I located the second mini boss of the lab. I used a repair kit to give myself absorption, and then I activated the robot blaze fight. The boss immediately flew into the sky and began firing these projectiles that dealt insane knockback. I pinned the blaze in a corner and got tons of damage off, but then it got a bit of distance and pinned me in the corner with a bunch of projectiles. It took a lot of bobbing and weaving, but after a few moments, I got close enough to the blaze to hit it and take it out. It was a little annoying with that knockback, I've gotta say. Either way, I continued taking down the lab. I stole netherite from the chest, took out robots, and then came the third mini boss, the robot golem. And that dude was a joke. He had no range attack, and because he's a golem, he's crazy slow. I was able to kite him and let the drones and my laser shots shred his health down to nothing, and then I took him out. All that was left in the second lab was the final boss. I entered the main boss arena, activated the blue egg in the center, and out came the robot Wither. The scientists that modified this Wither gave it a whole one attack. Rocket. Rocket, rocket, rocket. That was all this Wither did. And honestly, it did it pretty well. I couldn't stop moving for even a second or I would take an entire rocket to the face. I had to remain moving the entire fight, letting my drones do most of the damage while I got hits in whenever I could. If my mobility was any worse, either movement speed or jump boost, this fight would have been a nightmare. Thankfully, I was able to dodge a majority of the rockets and my jump height was just enough to hit the Wither whenever it was on the ceiling. After an intense bullet hell of a fight, I got off one final hit, taking out the robot's Wither. The second lab was complete. I looted the chest from the boss room, got more netherite and stuff, and then I used my telepad to return home. That robot Wither also gave me supreme robotic scraps, which I would need to make all the tier 3 upgrades and become the strongest robot. And of course, the completion of the second lab unlocked the tier 3 upgrade station, allowing me to access a netherite robot armor. That stuff looked insane, and it only got crazier. The first upgrade that I made in tier 3 was the thruster upgrade, which I learned that I needed a new advancement to even use. So then I made the rocket upgrade and learned I also needed a new advancement to use that one. Like I mentioned before, the advancements unlock whenever I reach new XP levels. Of course, there's one really easy way to get a high XP level, but I would deal with that later. For now, I made the armor reinforcement 3 upgrade. I was nearly as tanky as I could get beyond having the final advancement, and the rest of the upgrades needed blaze powder or more netherite. Now, to get the highest level advancement, I could just do the Ender Dragon. It was a guaranteed way to reach the level that I needed, so why not? I went to the nether, farmed blazes, made the fireproof upgrade to farm more blazes, and then I mined netherite. For a while. I got all that I needed, returned home, and began smelting the ancient debris. Now, while mining, I did reach the level that I needed for the Rocket Man advancement. I hit my upgrade station and check out this new tier of armor with the rockets on the shoulders. It's sick, right? Almost as sick as the rockets I was able to shoot. Each shot fired 2 rockets back to back, and if the first landed, the second one was pretty much guaranteed to also land. I harassed a few local mobs with the rockets, and by the time I was done, the netherite was also done. I upgraded myself as much as I possibly could. Mining upgrade tier 3, plasma cannon, melee tier 4, and finally melee tier 5. I was the strongest I could possibly be, at least without that final advancement. But even the strongest are prone to mistakes. There was this little robot camping outside my door, and I wanted to go outside to try the plasma cannon and just watch. Let's see what the plasma cannon is bound to. Plasma is on Y. Works for me. No! Not my house. I worked hard on that house and he just comes in and blows it up. I fixed it and then I tested the plasma cannon. That thing makes craters. Absolutely huge explosion, but it for some reason didn't really deal damage. It didn't even kill a few little birds that I shot at. Doesn't matter, huge explosion, very poggers. All that was left for me was to defeat the Ender Dragon, get my maxed out armor, and then take on the third lab. But to beat the dragon, you need lots of Ender Pearls, which took a long time. I went to a warped forest, but because robots were taking over the nether, Endermen were nowhere to be seen. I was having so much trouble, and because I knew the dragon would give me the levels that I needed anyways, I used all my XP to get a looting 2 iron sword. It was all I managed to get with all that XP. I used that sword to farm a few more pearls, made what as I could, and located the portal. And then I farmed pearls for about an hour, and then it was time. I had all the eyes, activated the portal, and entered the end, which was overrun by robots. They were everywhere, and I was so worried about that I got a little distracted. Things are just gonna be blowing up constantly. There's gonna be drones everywhere. Oh my god. Drones, my own drones, help me. Holy, my health! Okay, we've all been there. Don't judge. Either way, I got back to the end and it was all good. I used rockets to destroy the crystals, super speed bridged around to get the ones that were harder to reach, and then I just punch the dragon alive. Whenever it was in the air, I just hit it with rockets, and on the ground, I would punch it as much as possible. It did not take long at all for it to be one hit left. I fired one last rocket volley, making direct impact, defeating the Ender Dragon. I picked up the XP, got the decked out advancement, and then after returning home, I upgraded to my final armor. Visually, it just added a little thruster on the back, but that means that I could use the thruster. I could finally fly through the air. Huh? Well, that's not supposed to happen. One game crash later, it was time. I had the best armor, all the upgrades, I looked amazing, and it was time to take on the third and final lab. This one wastes no time, mini boss immediately. I cleared the nearby spawners, activated the boss, which spawned a robot slime. I'd already fought one before, and this one is a little bit broken. This must have been their testing slime that didn't work out. I traversed the lab, which was for some reason full of skulk. I guess the mod developers accidentally put the lab in a deep dark or something. Weird. Either way, just a bit later, I found a new mini boss. An actual new one. I activated it and it spawned a robot Piglin Brute. It attacked pretty fast, but with my gear as insane as it was, it stood no chance. But I couldn't exactly pay attention because what? I finished off the Brute and then I broke the robot Pillager spawner. To peel back the curtain a little bit, that was meant to be a mini boss in the first lab, and from the looks of them, the scientists that made them didn't really finish them. Weird. Bugs out of the way, I had defeated one mini boss in that Piglin Brute, and just a few seconds later, I found the egg of the second one. I activated it, spawning the Robot Ravager. That thing was actually nuts. It was dealing crazy high damage given how good my armor was. Its hitbox was that of a Ravager, aka it's broken, and it was really fast. And then I remembered that I could fly. I flew up, rocketed the Ravager, and trapped it. I got some free damage, it escaped, and then it got a little too close and personal. I hit it with the rapid punches and took it out. That thing's damage was really high though. Made me a bit worried about whatever the final boss was going to be. I went through more of the skulk-filled lab. Loot here doesn't really matter because it was the final lab, so I just went straight for the third and final mini boss. I activated the egg and the Robot Guardian spawned. No water, but it flew through the air, spiraling around, hitting me with its spikes. But much like a blaze, whenever you have fire resistance, it was pretty easy to cheat. I just punched it, kept it at a distance, and took it out. With that, all three mini bosses of the dungeon were defeated. All that remained was the final boss. The one that, upon defeat, would put an end to the robot's uprising. Or something. I made my way through the skulk, located the final boss arena, and approached this giant egg? Coffin? I don't know. There's only one thing left to do. I activated it and spawned the robot Warden. It stuck close to me and we exchanged a few blows. It must have realized that I'm built different because it backed off and fired a volley of rockets to keep distance. I dodged every single one, but back in melee mode, the Warden began firing this blue laser every time it approached, dealing crazy damage. I had to retreat into the air and use a repair kit to heal. The Warden grew very impatient with that and began summoning lightning throughout the entire arena, only stopping when I went back on the ground. Back within melee range, he knocked out my absorption hearts instantly. I kept some distance by firing my laser, my rockets, my lightning, every ability in my arsenal to beat this Warden. He must have thought it was safe to fire back, but as soon as he activated his rocket volley, I ran in and melted his HP. And just moments later, I landed the final blow, defeating the robot Warden. All the labs destroyed, all the bosses defeated, all the robots gone. All of them except for me.